Minister, I respectfully ask you if you will address the unfair anomaly that persists for some public sector workers, including and especially teachers, as a result of the two-tier pay system which was introduced over a decade ago along with the other FIMP cuts.
Thank you very much, Danny Healy-Rae, for raising this issue. The reduced new entrant pay scales for civil and public servants introduced in 2011 were abolished in 2013 under the Haddington Road Agreement, where it was agreed to merge the new pay scales and existing scales, typically by adding the lower 2 points of the new scale to the existing scale. As such, there are no separate reduced pay scales for civil and public servants. Under the Public Service Stability Agreement 2018-20, it was agreed to examine the remaining salary scale issues associated with the addition of the extra points for those recruited to entry grades after January 2011. The report laid before the Oireachtas in March 2018 estimated the point-in-time cost of advancing new entrants to the public service 2 points along their incremental scales. The report estimated at a cost of just under €200 million in respect of over 60,000 new entrants, an average cost of €3,300 per full-time equivalent. Following this report, negotiations with the Public Services Committee of ICTU took place over 2018, resulting in an agreement on new entrant salary scales being reached in September 2018. And I have a lot of detail on that, Chair, which will be put on the record. In addition, that in respect of new entrant teachers, the parties to the current agreement, Building Momentum, agreed that in final conclusion to the arrangements put in place in September 2018 as part of the previous agreement, the following measures will be implemented to resolve in full the remaining salary scale issues pertaining to new entrant teachers. New entrant teachers who have been recruited since 1 January 2011, after progressing to point 11 of the teaching salary scale, will on their next increment date move to point 13. New entrant teachers recruited since 1 January 2011, who have already reached point 12 or higher on the teaching salary scale, will on their next increment date after the commencement of the agreement move 1 point further than they would under the normal incremental progression. These arrangements set out are in section 4.3 of the agreement. Further, as the Deputy will be aware, the Building Momentum provides for a sectoral bargaining fund, which is the mechanism available to the parties under the present pay agreement framework to make progress on various sectoral pay matters of importance to them. The arrangements are complex, but I do believe the issue has been dealt with. The current agreement provides, and all parties have signed up to it, that it is in full and final settlement of that issue of new entrant pay. But we can go into more detail in the over and back, Deputy.
Well, Minister, it has been made very clear to me that the discrimination within the two-tier pay system in schools is having a deeply unsettling effect on the teaching profession. The lower pay is driving a significant number of people away from the teaching profession. The two-tier pay system has now been in place for over a decade, since 2011. It must be removed. Teachers who entered the system since 2011 are paid at a lower rate than their colleagues for carrying out the same work. Understandably, people are fed up and out of patience and deserve and want more than what they are getting. We were told by previous Minister Joe McHugh a few years ago that he would move to resolve the issue and that he would do so quickly. Now the current minister has been in place for almost 2 years, and the matter is still not resolved. And I'm asking you now, Minister, to settle this for once and for all, because it's unfair. These teachers, especially secondary teachers, they're highly qualified and have to give a lot of their time to become qualified, and we're losing them. They're going out of the country, and schools are having a problem in attaining these teachers.
Thanks, Deputy. And this is an issue that I am well familiar with, and I've discussed it directly with many individual teachers over the last decade or so. And I would make the point that all of the progress that has been made through collective negotiation, through the cooperation between the trade unions and indeed officials in my own department and in the Department of Education. But the Building Momentum current agreement specifically provides, as I said, for skipping of point 12 of the pay scale for new entrant teachers, and I quote in the agreement, it says, to resolve in full the remaining salary scale issues pertaining to new entrant teachers. So that is what the current public service agreement, which is an agreed document between Congress and indeed the government, currently provides for, and we are fully implementing that measure, and we've made, I think, very considerable progress in respect of that. And perhaps when I come back in a moment I can touch on the sectoral bargaining fund, which is a channel through which any final remaining issues that the unions believe are there can be dealt with. And I know, for example, that they have been raising issues about what was formerly known as the HDIP, the allowance in respect of that. There's an opportunity to have that issue addressed as well.
All right, Minister. Well, millions have been spent educating these teachers, and we can't afford to lose them to other countries like the United Emirates and other places. And the discrimination is having a deeply unsettling effect on the teaching profession. And you see, the question, you'll say there's agreement reached or whatever, but the question I'm asking you now is, when will they actually receive the pay that they're being denied? That's the question. When is that going to happen? And you see, there is already we're being told a deterioration in the quality of services provided to actually young students that they're teaching, because teachers are not staying. There's a kind of unsettling, and when children get used to, or students get used to a certain teacher, it's hard for them to lose them in the middle of their education.
Yeah, thanks, Deputy. I accept the importance of fully addressing this issue, and I do believe that, building on the work that was completed in 2018, the new Building Momentum Agreement provides for this incremental jump, provides an additional increase of €1,700 per teacher. All those who are above point 12 also received an additional incremental jump to the next point on the pay scale. The skipping of point 12 on the salary scale for teachers is in addition to the measures previously introduced in 2018, as I said, which provided for skipping points 4 and point 8 on the relevant scales. But we are in a process whereby over the months ahead we'll be seeking to negotiate either an extension to the current agreement or indeed a new agreement, and it is always open to trade unions to raise any issues that they regard as outstanding, which we will seek to address then through a process of negotiation. But the current agreement, which is being implemented right now and fully honoured by the government, does provide for resolving in full the remaining salary scale issues pertaining to new entrant teachers. That's what all parties have signed up to.
Thanks, Minister.